All right, so let's go back to Greece, right? They were doing this before we were born, right? Even before I was born. So it's a classic thing that you've probably heard. Aristotle said all humans are mortals. Socrates is a human, and hence, what can we conclude?
He's immortal.
Socrates is immortal, right? Is mortal, right? Everybody, this is classic. Everybody's seen this? Right? There's a Wikipedia that talks about it. I don't know. All right, so here's our statement, right? In fact, we're going to need oracles for this, right? Because we have this imply, there are a bunch of implies around, right? And so let's study again what we have here. Our first thing that we're assuming is that for every object, right? If that object is human, then that object is mortal, right? People buy that? And the second object, the second one says Socrates is human, right? And what do we conclude? We conclude that Socrates is mortal, right? So here's a question. Is this true as a math statement? Yes. Is it true in every universe? Is it only true in Greece or is it true in Toronto? Right? It's true in Toronto. Is it true if human was defined, you know, we slipped in and we got a universe in which our objects weren't people, but our objects were bananas. And human really didn't say whether our banana was human or not. It really says whether our banana is yellow, right? We're in a different universe where the word human means yellow and our objects are bananas, right? And then this says, oh, a specific object, a specific banana is human, right? Well, do we now know that the specific banana is, what does mortal mean? It means you're keen on eating it, right? So if it's yellow, then you're ready to eat it, right? Does it still work in that universe? Absolutely, right? This works in any universe, right? So we get some worst case universe. The objects could be humans or it could be anything. It could be bananas, right? And if I want to prove, right now we're doing this, right? This is the form of it. We assume A and we assume B and we prove C, right? So our oracle is going to, well, let's remember how this Forall works, right? I'm going to assure us that A and B are false, are true. Why? Because if A and B are false, remember, then this statement is automatically true, right? So we're going to forget that case. And by deduction, instead, we're going to assume that A and B is true, right? So during our pretending, you know, we indent. We assume A and B is true. We indent. We're pretending, we're being assured by an oracle that they're true, right? Everybody follow that? So here we have an oracle that's assuring us of this, right? She is assuring us that for every object, if the object's human, then the object's mortal. And then we either have the same oracle or a different oracle. It doesn't matter. Anyway, she's assuring us that some specific free variable Socrates is human. All right? And I have slides about talking about free variables day. Remember we had the free variable day? And somehow we lost the slides talking about the free variable day. So for now, free variable day is is arbitrary, right? So we can think about it as having come from the universe or from the adversary or from anybody, right? Somehow we have this specific Socrates, right? And my goal, what's my goal, is to prove that Socrates is mortal, right? But he's stuck, right? So I don't know how to prove on my own that Socrates is mortal. So I'm going to ask the oracle. Remember, up here we have an oracle. She assures us for all x. And when she assures us of all x, what do? We give her an x, right? And who do we give her? We give her the x Socrates, right? So the oracle says, yes, I'm ready for you to give me an x. I say, I give you Socrates. What does she say? She assures me that if Socrates is human, then Socrates is mortal, right? We now have this statement. All right. Now I have another oracle. Here I made this oracle a slightly different color. This other oracle assures me that Socrates is human, right? Now I know two things. I know I know this is true, and I know that this implies this. What do I do with those? Modus ponens. Good thing you've all learned the purple table, right? So then I use modus ponens to get that Socrates is mortal, and I'm done. Right? Everybody see that proof? You can see how we were using the oracles a bit, right? All right. So we're going to write it up as more of a proof now. All right. So we're trying to prove all of this. And the reason I wrote it down here as A, B, and C is because all of this doesn't fit on the screen, right? Sometimes I'll do that, and you just have to figure out, well, this is the A part, and this is the B part, and that's the C part, right? You could label them, right? So we assume A and B. Then what do? We separate. Remember the purple table? I know that the and is true, so the one of them is true. I know the other is true, right? Well, what's A? A is that for all x, right? So I know that's true. And now we're getting a little formal here, right? I know that this is true for all x. So if it's true for all x, I can plug in some object, right? Where did Socrates came from? The proof just somehow came up with Socrates, right? I came up with Socrates, and I asked the oracle, my oracle knew this, I plugged in Socrates, and I got this statement, right? Everybody see how 6 follows from 5, right? If it's true for all x, it's true for x being Socrates. Yeah? Yeah. 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 We're going to do it now. From B, we get Socrates as human, right? And then we do modus ponens, right? So this proof looks closer to what George likes, right? And so, right, you have 5, and then you plug in some object here, right? And is it really, George says he hates my game, but I'm like, it's all in here. I'm just talking about it in a different way, right? Everybody good? So then we assumed A and B, we proved C, so we get what we want.